Welcome back to Good Morning Vail. We are changing gears from being out on the mountain and we're going shopping. Lance Frey is joining me now from Betteridge Jewelers. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well too.
Beautiful day out there.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay,
Cold and
I like
snowy.
the attitude. It's a pretty nice day. I
Yep.
mean, every day in the mountains is a pretty nice day.
Yeah, we can't complain.
And it's fun when the weather's ever changing because then you can talk to strangers and everybody's like kind of like, woo, the weather.
I
oh
agree.
Boy. Today we're talking watches, and you guys at Betteridge really know your stuff about watches. I've learned more this season about watches than I've ever known in my life.
Oh, stay tuned because going
Okay.
forward we're going to keep
What you
bringing
got?
more and more and more. So
Okay.
we love our watches at Betteridge Jewelers. We have an amazing collection of jewelry, but honestly, I would say in the Vail Valley, not just in the Vail Valley, but in Colorado, we're really known for our watches because the brands and the collections that we carry there's only probably one other retailer in Colorado that carries the same amount of products that we do, from Rolex, Patek Philippe. Today I have Panerai, which is a sister company to Cartier, IWC, Lange & Son. So there's a variety of watches that we have in the store. And not only that, we have a full-time watchmaker on staff, which is a really unique thing to have someone that you can go in and talk to about the movements inside each piece, how they should work, et cetera, how to actually work them, set them. Some of them get extremely complicated, and when I use the word complicated, anytime you add a function onto a watch, it's called a complication. Okay. So if there's a,
like
you know,
that.
a second
Keep it
hand,
basic.
yeah, I know it gets a little technical, but that's how it's that's why I use the word complication.
This one's a complicated.
This one's a complicated
one,
piece,
isn't it?
as opposed to something like this one here. So this is Panerai, and this is actually an Italian brand. Started in 1860. Really hit its stride not until probably like, excuse me, the mid 1900s. And they've always had this look. Back when they first came out, these were much bigger than they are now because the Italian Navy used them. So they were really large, so they could be very visible. And now they've shrunk them, even though this doesn't look shrunk, but they shrunk them to like anywhere from a 40 millimeter to 46 millimeters. And this is what we got now. So this is brand new, one of my favorites. This is a new navy. Blue dials are the hottest thing right now on the market. This one is made in titanium, and actually this is a fairly thin watch and a fairly thin movement that is new to them, as they usually do much thicker. So one of my favorites. This one is going to be comfy, and it's a really handsome looking piece.
Why is this all your favorite? Why is this one of your favorite
I
brands?
aesthetically just have always loved the look of Panerai. It's they can keep it simple, or they can go a little more crazy, and they can put some complications in it. All the way on this side, we have a watch that has obviously just the regular time, but it has a second hand. It has a power reserve on it. So once you wind that up, it's a tiny little function, but you can see on there that this has a 72-hour power reserve. So once you wind it, you can watch that power go up, and you have 72 hours before you have to wind it again.
Okay.
However, this is also an automatic movement, so the movement in your wrist will also get this thing going and winding.
Okay,
so
that's
that
cool.
is
That's
that is the same actually for all of these guys here. So they're all in automatic.
So
movement.
if you're like with your Fitbit, then you're going to keep.
If you're walking around the village, if you're whatever it is, if you're skiing, it's gonna keep winding itself.
Okay, so you don't really literally have to wind it every 2 hours, every 72 hours.
Nope.
Okay.
We do have a few pieces that are not automatic and they're strictly mechanical where you do, but that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about these guys right here in the middle?
So these guys here, this is actually more of what we consider our women's piece in it, even though it's rather large. But this is a 40 millimeter, one of our smaller pieces. A white dial, another very clean, easy function to read. And this one here has a second hand and a date on it as well. So,
ooh, I like the date.
Yep,
That's
I do
a
too.
good one.
I like it. Some people don't. I love the idea of having a date on my watch.
I know.
So.
I have to check my phone all the time.
Yep.
Okay, and last.
And last, we have this really nice basic one. And this one, strictly just time. But I like aesthetically how this one looks. This is a sandwich dial. So there's a dial on top of a dial. These numbers are not painted on there, but they're actually cut out of the top dial. To give it that effect. And just
what
a
is
very
the
clean,
face
simple.
made out of?
So that's a good question.
I
don't know the
it's
answer
got
to
a
that
cool
one.
color.
It's got a very cool
Yeah.
color. A lot of them are done in different metals like titanium, some are copper with a powder coating on top of it. Each one is a little different actually.
Each one is different, and
Yep.
this one's carved in there.
And this one's actually layered in there, so it's a pretty interesting piece.
So let's talk more about the watchmaker at your shop. That's
His name is
interesting.
James, and if you ever, like I said, if anybody gets in and around and loves watches, stop in and talk to him about it. He's really fantastic. He can talk in tremendous detail about any one of our brands. And it's really interesting because he's gone through the Rolex training, so he is so knowledgeable on so many different aspects of watchmaking and what it's really about, from taking a watch completely apart, doing a cleaning, bringing it back together, putting it back to water resistancy, and having essentially a new piece back together.
And
He's
so-
worked on a pocket watch from probably 1880 just recently. It's sitting in our case, in our paddock case.
I think pocket watches are really an interesting piece of jewelry. Do any of these lines now carry, are there modern pocket watches?
A lot of the watches started with pocket watches. For example, Cartier really started pocket watches, went into the wrist watches in roughly 1904. Patek Philippe was one of the first pocket watches, and we actually have one. It's an estate piece that is done by Patek Philippe, partnered with Tiffany & Company, probably late 1800s, I would say, and functioning in the case. So
And so you put that in your pocket, like of your jacket.
Yep.
Nowadays, people aren't wearing as many sports jackets, so where would you put it?
So a lot of them are just in your pocket.
jeans
I mean, some
or your
people
pants?
wear the chains. They'll
Okay.
wear a chain on
I like the
your
chain
so
and the pocket
they
watch.
do it.
Okay.
And that is someone who's wearing that is someone who loves the technical features of a timepiece
Of a watch.
and history behind it.
And
It's really
you want to
fun.
know any more about the technical, the complications, and
Yes.
the history? Go to
Yep.
Betteridge Jewelers. You guys are
Come
kind
in.
of closing up a little bit. Sunday, Monday, your days off. But
Sunday, Monday days off, but we're still there the rest of the time, 10:30 to 5:30. We are located in the Solaris, where the skating rink, the ice is now gone, but that's where we are, the skating rink in the Solaris.
Okay, all right, Lance. Thanks for coming in
Thank
all
you.
season, and thanks for putting the effort into bringing this fine jewelry and these watches and teaching us about it.
My
Lance is
pleasure.
with Betteridge Jewelers. Go check it out. They don't only have watches; they have diamonds and rings
Lots
and
and lots of
necklaces,
diamonds.
every jewelry you can possibly imagine. And they're located in Vail, and also Ashley Prill is in Vail right now. So let's head back over there.